Boozy collaborations, courtside seats, and burgers on a cruise ship. Guy Fieri's life has changed quite a bit since the early days of diners, drive-ins, and dives. There's something inspiring about an everyman going from rags to riches, especially when it's someone who so clearly doesn't fit the typical image, as is the case with Guy Fieri. It's difficult to pin down his exact net worth, but there's no doubt he's earning substantially more than he made on his first show, Guy's Big Bite, for which he was reportedly paid less than $1,000 per episode. There also appears to be some reluctance by Food Network's parent company, Discovery Networks, to pay a premium for its on-air talent, but any hesitation was thrown out the window during recent contract negotiations with Fieri. That extension didn't just guarantee Fieri $80 million over 3 years, it also made him the highest-paid Food Network on-air personality. According to the data analytics firm Kantar, the ad revenue generated from diners, drive-ins, and dives alone was over $230 million in 2020, so it sounds like a fair deal for both parties. Guy Fieri is now close personal friends with a number of other celebrities from all areas of the showbiz world. And it's not just other culinary stars that he can count among his pals. For example, he's been seen sitting courtside with Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy at the 2022 NBA Finals. And he also co-founded a tequila brand with former Van Halen lead singer Sammy Hagar. And of course, Guy Fieri doesn't just have celebrity friends, he's also a bona fide celebrity himself at this point. It might seem wild to see him hobnobbing with the likes of Matthew McConaughey, who spoke at the spiky-haired chef's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony in 2019, but for a genuinely famous fellow like Fieri, that's just another day. There's no denying the entertainment value that Guy Fieri offers all on his own, and it's only logical to assume there's some genuine tangible value that drives businesses' desire to appear on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and it turns out that that's a fair assumption. Appearing on the long-running series doesn't just boost a restaurant's profile, as Pies and Thighs owner Sarah Sine put it to Thrillist in 2016, it changes your life immediately. Others have had similar experiences. For instance, 1 year after appearing on the episode Rib Stickers, the Sioux Falls, South Dakota eatery Daily Clean Food and Drink saw its business increase significantly. Clearly, a visit from Fieri and the Triple D crew provides some legitimate lasting value to the restaurants featured on the show. After all, why would businesses continue to covet a spot if it didn't deliver the goods?
You gotta come meet this girl. She'll change the way you look at things.
It's not unusual for a person to find themselves sticking to a particular style over time, whether or not it remains in fashion. And that's certainly the case with the instantly iconic look sported by Guy Fieri, who conjures a very specific image whenever his name is uttered. But it's not as if Fieri has carefully crafted a character in order to boost his chances for success. In a 2016 interview with CBS News, he insisted that his trademark style is just authentically how he likes to look, as opposed to something that he designed to specifically endear himself to viewers. Naturally, though, the brilliant businessman recognizes the appeal and power of his brand and image, and thus isn't likely to change his look anytime soon. He even chose to use an illustrated version of his face for the logo of his Flavortown Kitchen, a chain of virtual dining concept restaurants he launched in 2021. Guy Fieri's determination is perfectly exemplified by a 5-year career plan that he reportedly ended up accomplishing ahead of schedule in just 3 years. And that unrivaled drive also led him in 2011 to open a new line of restaurants on board Carnival cruise ships. The incorporation of Guy's Burger Joint as a dining option for Carnival guests was just the beginning of this decade-plus long partnership with the cruise company. 5 years after the successful launch of his first restaurant concept, Fieri spearheaded a second venture with Carnival called the Pig and Anchor Smokehouse. While Fieri was concerned that opening a smoker on a ship wouldn't work out, the dedication from both parties ultimately ensured the concept was seen through to completion. And as of 2022, both restaurants remain active aboard Carnival Cruise Lines. Every so often, some celebrities get lampooned on Saturday Night Live, and they simply don't have the sense of humor to be able to appreciate the joke. But then there are those impressions that are simply impossible to resist, for both the audience and the target. In the latter category is the pitch-perfect portrayal of Guy Fieri in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Of course, it helps when the performance is unimpeachably good, as was the case with the Fieri rendition by Bobby Moynihan, who took us to Flavortown 5 times between 2009 and 2013. He memorably played the flame-shirted chef as he offered suggestions for the likes of a Super Bowl party and Thanksgiving dinner. Moynihan was so fantastic in the role that the man himself actually enjoyed the impersonation. As Fieri admitted during an interview with Huffington Post, "I've always loved SNL, and I think Bobby kills it. I think Bobby is hysterical. As a matter of fact, we've become buddies." Perhaps the greatest SNL Guy Fieri sketch, in which he reacts to the infamously vicious New York Times review of his Times Square restaurant in 2012, actually didn't make it onto the live broadcast. Luckily for viewers, though, it was eventually uploaded to YouTube.
The New York Times reviewing my restaurant is like Architectural Digest reviewing a college dorm.
The rise of the side hustle in recent years has pressured anybody and everybody to wear multiple professional hats in order to be successful. So, with that in mind, it makes sense that Guy Fieri, who was already multitasking before appearing on TV, would take on additional roles beyond TV host after the monumental success of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And indeed, he certainly has kept busy, which has included authoring multiple cookbooks over the years. But Fieri hasn't just gone through the motions and offered a token product that nobody would be interested in actually purchasing. He doesn't attempt anything in life that's less than full throttle. So it should hardly be surprising that 4 of his books have ended up on the New York Times bestseller list. It's virtually impossible for an artist or celebrity to be one singular thing in this day and age. But when the person in question is someone who has an unparalleled passion like Guy Fieri, there's clearly no limit to the potential ventures to pursue.
A lot of great flavor, a lot of great pictures to work from so people can understand where they're going. I think you'll dig it.
Guy Fieri has been on TV a lot since he first appeared on the Next Food Network star back in 2006, having hosted or starred in no less than 8 shows on Food Network since then. Obviously, he's immensely popular, considering the passionate demand for all things Guy Fieri related. Sometimes, though, widely beloved TV programs go years without any critical recognition. But the same can't be said for Guy Fieri, who's been nominated for several Emmys during his 15-plus years on the dial. Weirdly enough, there appears to be conflicting information on the internet about whether or not Fieri has won any of those times he's been nominated, but the truth becomes clear enough once you know what you're looking at. The official Emmys website notes that Fieri has received 5 nominations without a win, while the biography on his own website states that he's an Emmy award-winning TV host. Then there's the Internet Movie Database, which is a pretty reliable source when it comes to industry awards. That website notes that Fieri indeed won an Emmy in 2013 in the Outstanding Special Class Special category for Guy Fieri's Family Reunion, but it was a daytime Emmy as opposed to a primetime Emmy. Guy Fieri simply doesn't seem capable of slowing down or scaling back his ambitions. In that sense, he's a lot like the Tasmanian Devil, a whirling dervish who's constantly looking to innovate and expand his culinary empire. Perhaps that's what's led him to spearhead the openings of dozens of restaurants around the world over the past few decades. In addition to his original restaurants in Northern California, Fieri has developed some fun and casual eateries in cities such as Las Vegas and Boston. And he hasn't just invested in or opened businesses following the traditional food service model. He's also opened restaurants over the sea, as in the pair of restaurant concepts aboard Carnival Cruise Lines. Then in 2021, he launched the virtual dining concept restaurant known as Guy's Flavortown Kitchen. The ghost kitchens, which are only available through delivery, have thrived since opening, with more than 100 locations across the United States as of 2022. As it's on literal display for the world to witness, nobody's in the dark about Fieri's on-camera ambition. And if you're a fan of his, maybe he'll inspire you to get busy living instead of staying busy simply watching TV. Nobody's perfect, but some people are pretty great, or at least they keep making selfless decisions that help a lot of others. Guy Fieri has often been a punchline, but it's hard to deny the content of his character when you consider his charitable history. In particular, there was his response to the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on food service workers. As he revealed in a 2021 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he was seriously upset at the time, so he made it his mission to aggressively solicit donations from wealthy donors in the hopes of helping some of the thousands of suddenly unemployed restaurant workers. Nobody was spared from the wrath of the novel coronavirus, but the restaurant and food service industries were hit particularly hard. As Fieri noted to CBS News in 2021, So many people work in the restaurant industry in multiple jobs, second jobs, single moms, single parents, students, retirees, and the restaurant industry is massively important to our communities. And so, when I saw this coming, I said, we gotta do something to get some money to these folks.
It's a really neat program, and we're looking for more support and also looking to get the message to the restaurant employees that might not know about it.
Partnering with the Restaurant Employee Relief Fund, Fieri has helped raise about $25 million from thousands of donors since 2020, which has been given to 43,000 food service workers in need. It may be impossible to fully quantify all the negative outcomes caused by the pandemic, but with people like Fieri dedicating themselves to making a difference, at least some have been able to stave off financial ruin. If you're a fan of both Food Network and hair metal, maybe you've already noticed how much Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar resemble each other. So perhaps it was destiny that these two celebs would become friends and eventually partners in the tequila business. Investing in a new liquor brand called Santo Tequila with Hagar was an easy decision for Fieri, but that's just one area outside of the restaurant industry that he's invested in since diners, drive-ins, and dives first aired.
You're the sensei. I'm the grasshopper.
In 2011, Fieri also created a rather off-the-chain line of jewelry that included items distinctly on chains, such as necklaces and bracelets. Clearly, obtaining international fame has led to plenty of opportunities that Guy Fieri never would have had if he'd simply remained a Santa Rosa, California-based chef. But knowing the man as well as we do in 2022, it's no wonder he's become a sort of modern-day Alexander Hamilton. That is to say, a man who will never be satisfied. His life has changed completely, and so has the entire world, as we've all spent our fair share of time in Flavortown.